Everyone, it's Summer here. I just wanted to come on here really quick and point out some of the main things that I focus on when it comes to picking out a piece of furniture for my next flip project. This is one of the things that you really need to get down pat in the beginning, just so you can get that turn in profit that you're looking for, and that just to make sure that your furniture piece that you chose is going to sell well after you flip it. And it's really not a very complicated thing to figure out, but there are some things that I've personally learned through trial and error, and I just wanted to come on here and hopefully make it easier for you so you don't have to go through that same trial and error process that I did. First one is that you want to look for furniture that has an overall modern design. What I've found right now recently is that people have been kind of moving away from the, like bulky design. I'm going to add some pictures and I'll kind of show you what I'm looking at and what I mean by that. So this is one piece that has a nice modern look to it. As you can see, the sides of it are nice and straight. It has nice straight legs to it, and it doesn't have too much of a design on the bottom. This one does have design on the front of the drawers, as you can see, but I think that it's minimalistic enough that it does give the side table a little bit of character, but not too much. And if you just look from the side, it's nice and sleek, and people really like that kind of stuff. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say nice straight corners. Let's see, another example here. This one, just nice straight corners and side. There's not too much going on, not too much extra besides just the dresser itself. And I'm not saying that, design or character on dressers is a bad thing at all. I personally love dressers that have a little bit of character, but just for the sake of selling the furniture, I've found that these are the types of pieces that sell the fastest for the most amount of money. So here's a piece that is a little much. As you can see, the design on the front of the drawers and the design on the bottom there. Now the design on the bottom is not bad in my opinion. I would be totally fine with that, but since the drawers are so heavily decorated, I would avoid this. In my opinion, just because those kind of decorations on drawers are now kind of outdated compared to the furniture that is selling right now. So here's another look of one that is a bit outdated. You can see the scalloping on the bottom of the dresser. Usually that is on older pieces of furniture, and you can see the legs here. Now, I personally like the character of this dresser. I'm obviously not crazy about how it looks in terms of color or anything, but just the character of it I personally like. But in my opinion, these details on the top drawers here with the details on the bottom and the scalloping on the bottom, it just won't sell as quickly as a more sleek piece of furniture would. Here is another piece that is just very outdated. As you can see, this big thing on top here, I'm not sure what that's called. That is on no new pieces of furniture right now that I have seen, and so it just doesn't sell like it should. And the really high lifted up legs like this on these chest of drawers, it doesn't really sell either. And another thing you want to pay attention to is this detailing here in the top drawer. I have seen people refinish these dressers and it turned out just fine with that detailing, but in my experience, it sells even better without that. Okay, and the last example for this tip here, this dresser itself I think is a beautiful color and everything, but this marble top and just the really heavy detailing on the bottom and on the sides, I can almost guarantee is going to make this dresser not sell like it should. people just don't really buy marble top dressers in my area, at least. So I've avoided them completely just because I want things that are going to sell quickly. And another thing is the mirrors that attach. I've gotten dressers that have the attached mirrors multiple times, but I have never spent the time refinishing the mirror. I'll just either sell them by themselves or just give them away for free because it's just not something that people are looking for, in my opinion, anymore. And the next thing is looking at whether your piece of furniture is real wood or fake wood. Now, they both have their pros and cons. I've bought both pieces and types before, but overall I definitely do prefer the real wood. For me, it's easier to work with. It has more possibility. You can almost always, sand it down and get a clean slate. Well, when you're working with fake wood or particle board, you can't sand that down in most cases because it can't handle the sanding, and so you're kind of limited with what you can do with that piece of furniture. And it usually just results in having to repaint it, which is totally fine. But I do prefer real wood, not only because the possibilities of fixing it and flipping it in the way I desire are more broad, but they also sells for more. A lot of people are looking for a sturdy, solid wood dresser, and they just sell quicker, in my opinion. Now, the pieces that I have worked on that are fake wood, I will usually paint them just a complete different color. Sometimes I will do like a faux wood finish, like a Pottery Barn finish, and I can still sell those quickly, but it's not for as much as a full wood dresser. For example, this is a piece that I did that I just did a light sanding on, and I cleaned it up, and I did a faux wood Pottery Barn like finish on it, and I listed it that morning for $350, and I sold it that evening. They came and picked it up for that $350. And so that kind of stuff definitely sells. Now, if this was a solid wood piece, the price range would probably be, $550. It would have been a little bit more, but sometimes it's nice to just have like that quick flip. If you're looking to make money quick, you don't have to put as much time into it depending on the design you're going for. And I'm not saying you can't, just paint real wood furniture and do the same thing, but just in my experience, the fake wood pieces, if I just throw some paint on them and clean them up a little bit, they will sell, but not as much as the real wood, if that makes sense. And the next thing that you want to look at is the structural integrity of the dresser itself. You usually want to avoid furniture that has really deep cracks, like in the structural part of the dresser, like the inside of the dresser, unless you want to go in and you want to replace those boards, which I've seen people do successfully. I just choose to avoid that. Usually with the cost of it, I can usually find a dresser that is just as much as, if not cheaper, that doesn't need a lot of structural work than one that does. Honestly, usually the ones that do are overpriced, in my opinion. And I also like to try to avoid water spots or like water damage areas on fake pieces of furniture if I buy them. I have bought one piece in the past and it did have water damage on it, and no matter what I did, I couldn't cover it up. Now, I have seen some people who are able to get those sanded down enough and cover them up. So it is possible, but in my experience, that just wasn't the case. It ended up being that I just painted it and I left the water spots, and I just sold the dresser for way cheaper, considering that it had the damage. And I still ended up selling it, but nothing like I was planning on in the beginning. And you also want to be wary of issues with the drawers. I have seen plenty of dressers that have dovetail drawers where the drawers have kind of become unattached at the dovetails, and usually that's a pretty easy fix. Usually it will just require some glue, pound those back together. Some people do use like small staples or little nails, but if your drawers are completely missing, or if they're like cracked in a way that you wouldn't be able to put them back together easily, I usually pass over furniture like that, because it can be hard to perfectly match a drawer like that. I've seen pieces that have been missing 2 drawers, and in my opinion it's just not worth the effort or the time that it would take to, or the money that it would take to get those drawers put back together and make it look nice. So for me, I just skip over that. Another thing is looking for mold. Mold can be taken care of. I have had dressers in the past where I did mold remediation on it, but usually the smell of mold can be hard to get rid of, and not only is it a toxic thing, it's toxic to work with and clean. So I personally decide to just stay away from that. It's not worth the risk of possibly getting me sick or someone in the future if I don't completely remediate that mold on that piece. And I also want to look for bugs. Make sure you're checking your drawers and checking the inside of the dresser for any traces of bed bugs. The last thing you want to do is to bring a piece of furniture into your home that has a live bug nest in it, even like a spider nest. Now in the winter, if the dressers are stored outside, it's not as high of a risk, but in the summertime, if they're stored in a garage or even some people's homes, I just am always weary about bringing furniture into my house. Now, I don't ever bring furniture into like my actual home. It's all out in my garage, but I know that stuff can carry into my garage, and I don't really want that infestation in my garage either, whether it's, spiders or any other type of bug. Talking about structural integrity of dressers and problems to look for when you're trying to decide if the dresser is worth the amount of work it's going to go into it. This is a dresser that I found on Marketplace, and I actually really like this dresser, and I would probably go ahead and buy it if it weren't missing this top drawer. In the listing, it just says that the drawer is completely missing. In my opinion, spending the $75 on this piece and having to build another drawer from scratch is just not worth it. I've never built a drawer from scratch. I know it can be done, but I think it'd be really difficult to make it match perfectly, and just to build a drawer from scratch is not something that I have any experience doing. So when I'm looking for something that I can quickly flip, I will avoid stuff like this, even if it kind of hurts to do it, just because for some reason I really like this piece. I think that it would sell well. And here's another one that I found. Now this one has the marble top, so that's the outdated part of it. But in her listing, she says that the whole top is cracked. And that's the kind of structural integrity that I'm talking about when I say that it's not worth fixing. So if I were to buy something with a marble top, even though I won't be doing that, if it is completely cracked in half, that's a deal breaker for me. And then also looking at just how this dresser has been taken care of overall. I mean, I don't really have to go into detail here. You could see that it is dirty, and there's cigarette butts, so the chance of it smelling like smoke are probably pretty high, and smoke can be hard to get out of furniture. There are ways to do it, including leaving it in the sun, but just all the all the different components coming together and problems with this piece are the reason that I would skip over it. I'll just pass on it. And then here is another piece that looks like it has been sitting outside. This is the top of it, and you can see that it is molding quite a bit on the edges here. Some water damage, and you can see water damage on the front. This is the kind of stuff that I just avoid. You can see the puffing right here. It's just not worth it. Even if this piece was free, which it wasn't, I would still have to pass on it and look for something that's going to be a little bit easier and something that I'll be able to work with better. And the last thing that I focus on is if I can find a furniture set. Just meaning, you know, a tall dresser, a long dresser, nightstands, just any pieces of furniture that go together. Those are always a good find because you can fix them all up the exact same way and sell them as a nice set. Now, sometimes sets will take a little bit longer to sell, but not always. Just like that dresser I showed earlier that had a nightstand with it, and it still sold that same day. But I think the waiting a little bit longer for it to sell is worth the amount of profit that you're going to gain by selling a set rather than just one piece. And I know that you're gonna have to spend a little bit more in the beginning to get that set. It's not gonna be, a $75 set. You might find one for that, but usually the sets are gonna be, $250, depending on where you are and depending on what type of furniture it is, or even more. But if I can snag a good set, I am always very happy and I'll do it. Now, something that I will want to make sure is in a set are nightstands. I have flipped, one nightstand in the past where it was just a single nightstand, and it did take a while to sell just because it was just that one piece. And when people are looking for nightstands, they're really looking for two pieces as a set, and so I don't think that I would buy a nightstand just by itself again. If I did find one that was a really good deal, I would try to find another nightstand that looked pretty similar where I could make them match and make them look close enough to be a set. And I've just found that, overall it's easier to sell them as a complete set, and you're going to get more for your money doing it that way. So I hope these quick tips were helpful for you and that you learned something that you'll be able to put into practice. If you do have any questions, you can just leave them down in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching.